In this video, I want to take a look at working with fonts and some things that we can do with some of the text content on our pages. Here I have a document set up, and in my styles I have a width set for this image because it was a large image and I didn't want to crop it, so I'm just using that. I do have my HTML file linked to my style sheet here, and I have some of these meta elements in my head section. So now here in the styles, some of the things that you might want to do are things like, let me refresh this. If I wanted to center this element, there's a few ways I could go about that. I could, since an H1 element takes up that entire width anyway, I can tell it H1 and then text align center. And then when I save this, refresh my page, I can see it centered that. I also could style this header and tell it that I want whatever's inside of it to be centered. So let's try header. And now everything that is a header, all of those are centered and everything inside of them is centered. That works well for text. And some of your elements, it's not going to work for directly on an image. We can take a look at that here, back up here in this image tag that I already have. I can try to do text align center. And then when I save this and refresh my page, that didn't do anything because an image tag doesn't have anything inside of it exactly. It's just a single self-closing tag. So there's nothing in between an opening and closing tag. That's a good way to think about that. But if I wanted that image to be centered, I can go onto its parent element and center that. So in this case, I'm going to style the section element. Well, first I'm going to just add a div in here for this. And then let me indent this. And now I can give that div that text align, text align center value, and now that will center this image because the div's taking up the entire page and it's centering the image inside of it. I could also use this for the section element that all of this content is in. If I wanted to center everything, I kind of like the way that looks, so we'll keep it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so that we can see this a little bit better. The next thing that I want to talk about is using fonts. You can set the font that you want to use on the page, but remember that not everybody is going to have all of the same fonts that you have. So when we set these up, we're going to put in multiples so that we're able to have some backup fonts. So here I'm going to go to W3 Schools and let's see. And we will take a look at fonts, the font family, all of those. So here in the menu, the references, HTML tag references, CSS reference, that's the one that I want at the moment. And I can search, so I want something that has something to do with the font. So here, font is a shorthand property to set a number of things. With some of these that can get kind of confusing. What I want here is this font family, and by default my browser has a serif font. I'm not sure which one my browser is set to. But looking at this, we can use a serif font, which is a font that has some of these little things coming off of the corners like that. It's a little bit fancier than some of your other fonts. But if I wanted to change something to, say, this Arial Helvetica Sans Serif, I can do that. And what this would do is look for the Arial font. And if that's available to the person viewing the page, it'll use it. If not, it will try to use Helvetica. And if that's not available, it will use whatever generic sans serif font that is available. Now up here in this one with these serif fonts, I want to point out, if you have a single font name that has more than one word to it, like Times New Roman here, you have to have that inside of double quotes. And then each of your fonts in the order, you need to have those separated with a comma so that the browser knows when one is ending and you get to the next one. So here I'm going to set just my H1 font or element to this font family that I copied. And again, these could be whatever they needed to be. Now when I save this, refresh my page, we can see that this is no longer a serif font because I used those sans serif ones. It's putting in this Arial font. And now because of the way this works with somebody needing to have that font installed in their browser, there are other things that you can do. One thing that can come in really handy is going to fonts.google.com. And here I can find a font that I like. I'm going to go ahead and bring this full screen. I can do some sorting, popular by name. I'm not too worried about it. So let's just kind of scroll through here till I find one that looks like it might work. I know of one I think that should work. I want to say it's called Chiller. Right. And because this is a Halloween font, oh, they don't have that one available. So let's find something that looks similar here. Alright, I found one that works for this Halloween kind of font. So here, after you find the font that you want to use, you can select that. You can select multiples if you want to, and you can even type in here what you want to use that for to see how that's going to look, and try different pixel sizes to see if that's going to look okay. And in this example, I like that one. That works for what I'm doing. So now I can come over here, click, select the style, and it's giving me a little bit of information here. So first, to embed this, I need to copy this. This is going to be my link to the style sheet. So just from there, I need to come into my index.html, and above my meta tags here, I should really put that below those. So here below my meta tags, and above my styles.css so that it is available. I am putting in these links so that I can use these fonts. And now I have, under the CSS rule to specify these families, it gives me this rule here that I can use. So now when I go back to my document for this H1, instead of this, I want to use this Creepster font that I found. So I'm going to save this, save my HTML file, and then when I come back over here, when I refresh my page, now I can see I have this font that I wanted, and that works okay there. But for what I want, I'm going to put it on the H2 instead of the H1. So here, refresh my page, and now that's updated. And then in the next video, we'll take a look at setting font size and how some of that works.